It is Monday, November 22nd, 2021. On the news this morning, NDLEA says consumption of methamphetamine increasing in Port Harcourt. Police arraigned 4 students of Nkpolu Oroworuko Community Secondary School for alleged cult activities today. Illegal petroleum product storage sparks 2 fire incidents in Port Harcourt. Illegally refined petroleum product storage sparks 2 fire incidents in Port Harcourt. The government to probe cause of fire incidents. On the foreign scene, Taliban unveiled new rules banning women in TV dramas. I am Eno Ubwebri. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in River State says there's an increase in the consumption of methamphetamine, popularly known as ice, or Umpulumiri in the state. Spokesperson of the agency, Emmanuel Ubungbada, told our correspondent that NDLEA officials began noticing the high consumption around this time last year.
After the lockdown and then NSAS thing, and then we began to notice the increase in the intake of crystal meth. But before now, it was very scarce. Like 2 years ago, I don't think we ever made any arrest. And we now realize that it was flowing in from our neighboring states, Imo State and Abia State, and of course Anambra. I think we need to know that this substance is very dangerous. It is even more potent than cocaine, and the addiction rate is very high.
Emmanuel Ogungbada also said almost every corner where illicit drugs are sold in the state, methamphetamine is found.
Almost every joint where they sell hard drugs that we have accosted, there's always methamphetamine there. What happens is it's just this demand and supply thing, where when there is demand, there will definitely be supply, or at least supply will increase when there is increase in demand. So that will happen. And of course, we are working hard to ensure that we remove them just like we do. We arrest and we investigate and charge them to court.
He also said methamphetamine is more dangerous than cocaine in the body.
Those who are affected, you see their teeth decaying fast, you see them aging faster with bumps and pimples all over their skin, and also makes the bone softer and brittle and easy to break. And then it also has psychoactive effect, all sorts of antisocial behavior, because the moment they take it, it creates excitement far higher than other drugs. A medical personnel described euphoria from methamphetamine as 200 times higher than the euphoria received from orgasm.
The NDLEA spokesperson spoke on how the agency is collaborating with other agencies to reduce the consumption of methamphetamine.
The effect is overwhelming. If we allow it to continue, it will eat up the entire society. So it's something that all hands must be on deck. Everybody should join hands with NDLEA to sanitize our society of this evil. And because it moves faster and eats up the youth, we will not have future tomorrow. Let each community develop their own strategy to handle this. If it means to fish out those people and hand over to NDLEA, we're ever willing and ready. We're ready to receive information, process those information, and go to arrest those people.
In the meantime, a student of Community Secondary School Rumapara says some senior secondary school students consume methamphetamine. The student who spoke anonymously said they consume the illicit drug in school either before or after classes. He says the teachers are aware, but they cannot do anything because when the students take the drug, they become violent. And 4 students of Community Secondary School Nkpolu Oroworuko Mile 3 will be arraigned today on charges bordering on cultism. They were arrested by officers from the Nkpolu Divisional Police Headquarters in Mile 3, Port Harcourt. The charge sheet cited by our correspondent gave the names of the students as Uchechi Okene, Hakim Suleiman, Sunday Progress, and Nicholas Benson. The students were remanded in police custody as Chief Magistrate Philippa Dike Udena did not sit last week. In other news, a senior secondary school student of Community Secondary School Rumwekini has accused his teachers and principals of extortion. The 16-year-old student who walked into the offices of Kuwazupia Info to make the complaint said students were asked to pay 7,500 naira for school uniform, 5,000 naira for photos, 2,500 naira for chairs, and 1,000 naira for plastering. He said students of CSL Rumekini who are yet to pay these levies are constantly harassed and beaten by the teachers. The students also said the price of workbooks and readers have increased by 100%. He said most parents cannot afford to pay the levies. As you may know, the River State government operates a free education policy, but principals said they've not been given imprest to run their schools for several months now. A political activist from Mabo Jackridge has charged students across the country to take the lead in transforming the process to rescue Nigeria from corruption. Mr. Jackridge gave the charge at the Cultural Day event held by Law Students Association of River State University chapter over the weekend. He said corruption has continued to put the country in bad light before the international community.
Corruption has become endemic in Nigeria, not just in our political space, but also in our daily lives as a people. Politics is a means of presenting the powers of the state to effect the desired social, political, and economic change in our society. However, in the years this mindset has totally replaced with that of selfishness and greed. Individuals scrambling to present the powers of the state to enrich themselves and suppress us. As young scholars, some of these issues affect you, even within the academic institution. What is expected of you is to commence the process that will emancipate the society from this endemic.
Mr. Jackridge was the leader of a social political pressure group Network for Defense of Democracy and Good Governance, NDDGG, also encouraged students to actively participate in the electioneering process.
The voice of people is irrefutable. People of the land of themselves with the core values of unity, equity, and justice to pursue a common cause for the benefit of all. NSA protest of 2020 is a signal that Nigerians are yearning for change, and this change we must get only with our collected resolve to make the change possible with your prejudices and without compromising your single vote for the right candidate of your well-considered consideration. Political party is just a platform for presentation of candidates. As voters, we must do thorough consideration of just the party offers and then cast our votes based on established and verifiable policies that we find in leaders.
Away from that, goods and property worth millions of naira were destroyed in a fire outbreak at an uncompleted building near a commercial bank in Umokoro yesterday. Eyewitnesses told correspondent Emeka Otuka that the fire, which started at about 1 p.m., was caused by the activities of illegal oil refiners.
Yes, the thing was exploding. We have to see whether is it gas storage or is it real crude or produced product. And then there's a underground depot there, block tank, where after refining, they store it there.
As I was passing, I heard that blow, boom, like something exploded. So I was thinking it's a tire that just exploded. I noticed some flame going up. Got into the place, I noticed that they were doing some illegal oil, both fire. They were doing both fire there.
When you look there, you see storage tanks of crude oil products there, and the main tank where they are distilling the thing there, and then the underground tank where they are storing the distilled product there. It was when we got here that we saw this kind of thing. Nobody will even know that something is going on there.
The eyewitnesses called on the government to check the activities of illegal oil refiners in the state.
The government should really do something about this thing because it's not fair. Me myself, I didn't even know what to do. It's not fair. They have storage tank, they have everything, they have it all here, and you will not know. But they have camouflage buildings that you will think that they are doing some other things like spaghetti rice. They are just using it to camouflage. Yeah. So the government should really do things.
The government should do the needful. What they should do is to first and foremost seal off this place, then do a thorough investigation of who owns the building, then prosecute the person. He should be prosecuted to serve as a deterrent to other hoodlums who perpetrate these illegal activities around the state, not just this very area alone.
In the meantime, the chairman of Obiakwa local government area, George Ariolu, condemned the incident and called on the state government to confiscate the building.
We have to come here to take on the spot assessment of what actually transpired. And we have seen it. Very big fire. As it stands, we are pained by this development because we don't expect this to happen in the LG. Our observations here will send to the state and then we'll make recommendations for the state to take action. One of my own recommendations is that this property be confiscated from whomever that owns it for allowing it to be used for such illegal business that is endangering the life of citizens. It's not supposed to be so. We have ordered the police to cordon the place to make sure people don't come in and go out until the state comes in to take their own appropriate action.
The River State government has begun investigating the cause of a fire outbreak in a private property in the D-Line axis of Port Harcourt that destroyed property, West Millions, on Saturday. Commissioner of Energy and Natural Resources, Peter Mayday, said this shortly after inspecting the level of damage done by the fire.
Around 8, my daughter.
Apologies for that mix-up.
With the magnitude of the fire that we have seen now, it must be high combustible material, which will not be also far from petroleum products. This is very, very unsatisfied for us. So first and foremost, it must be from the handling of people doing activities that are illegal, activities that are unwholesome, from people who does not have any regard for authorities. So this may have caused it, but we will wait until the investigation is out, then we'll be able to report exactly what may have caused this incident so that we can learn from it and avert it tomorrow.
Commanding Officer Federal Fire Service, River State Command, Abdullahi Alpha Aldu, also spoke to newsmen.
The only thing I suspected is that there's a lot of gas stored in there because there are a lot of drums of diesel that was stored. I don't know the source of the fire anyway, but I saw a lot of storage of fuel and gas, which is very, very wrong. Yes, by God's call, my head of investigation and head of operation, they come and carry out the preliminary investigation.
Some people whose property were destroyed spoke to our correspondent.
Around 8, my daughter that living in town called me that church is burning. Fire from inside that company entered there, burning everything.
As I come back yesterday night, before I come, fire don't catch everywhere finish. I don't know where we have one from start. I don't know how I want text here. I don't know. Come on my club, my shoe we cook. I don't see anyone no, we go shop. I don't hungry. I don't know how to do.
Around the 11, they called me that our church is catching fire, is burning. So when I came back, before I got to the church, everything has burnt. Generator, everything.
You're listening to the news on 92.3 Nigerian for Port Harcourt. Still ahead, Anthony Opopo Nkoro Federal Constituency members benefit from Skills Acquisition Program. Stay tuned.
You are tuned in to 92.3 Nigeria Info.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Now to the rest of the news. Members of GDI from Okrika and Ugbolo local government areas yesterday met at the Okrika Council Secretariat Complex for the GDI Verification and Sensitization Program. Speaking during the event, Chairman of Ugbolo local government area Vincent Nemioboka said the Ugbolo people have no regret supporting Governor Nyesom Wike. Mr. Nemioboka said the government has delivered projects in all communities in the LGA. He said the Wakirike said people are in full support of Governor Nyesom Wike running for the office of president in 2023. He said the governor is visionary, hardworking and pragmatic to restructure the economy of the country. Also speaking, GDI patron in Okrika, Ibibia Walter, called on Governor Wike to run for the office of president because of his reurbanization policy, which is visible in River State. And President General of GDI, Bright Amewule, thanks the leaders and members of GDI in Ogbolo and Okrika local government areas for their commitment and support towards GDI. He particularly commended the chairman of Ogbolo, Vincent Nemioboka, for his continued support for GDI. The event had the vice chairman of Ogbolo local government area, Eunice Alabo Thompson Marcus, PDP chairman in Ogbolo, Francis Iwari Taribi, GDI coordinator in Ogbolo local government and ward executives in attendance. Over 100 men and women from the Anthony Opopo Nkoro Federal Constituency benefited from the Skills Acquisition Program of federal lawmaker Awaji Inombek Abiante. Some of the beneficiaries were trained in ICT, soap production, hand sanitizers and paint production. Speaking at the end of the 3-day program in Ngo, Mr. Abiante said the need to make his constituents productive necessitated the gesture.
It's about service. I was elected to represent the people, and the challenges of the time are quite high relative to employment and unemployment. So we just thought about something that would be useful to them and also needed within our environment. And that's why we opted for this kind of training, because if one has passed through this, it's very possible if they are serious, they could lay their hands on something to do for themselves. I advise that they be passionate about what they have learned, because without passion, cannot do much. Be passionate, should be committed, determined to succeed.
The lawmaker said the program has added value to the participants.
What you came to learn is not just the elementary I can type, it's a further step. You have learned how to build websites, how to do some applications. Then what else? I don't have a website, so somebody amongst you can offer to develop one for me and put the content so that my constituency will have a website courtesy of those who were here. And that is the value addition that we're talking about.
Some of the beneficiaries commended Awaji Inombek Abiante for the initiative.
We thank God that we have been trained in different capacity. We can produce as many pens that can be used in every homes. We thank the Honorable, in person of Honorable Abiante. We say may the good Lord strengthen him, giving him more wisdom and to carry everybody along. Not actually ending in our own time, but let it be spread across the world so that they can train up youths who will be a pillar, not vagabond.
Let me start by saying I'm very elected to have received a brand new laptop and a certificate with a token of 15,000 naira for transport at the end of this 3 days training. So I, as an individual, am most grateful to our representative at the Federal House of Representatives.
Our correspondent reports that the chairman of Andoni local government area, Erastus Awotu, presented laptops and money to the beneficiaries as starter packs. Executives of Ogoni Liberation Initiative yesterday held a town hall in Yenagua with thousands of Ogoni people residing in Bayelsa State. President Ogoni Liberation Initiative Douglas Fabeke said the meeting was to inform Ogonis living in Bayelsa on the organization's vision to attract development in Ogoni land. Dr. Fabeke said he's in talks with officials of Bayelsa State government over his plan to site a building for the Ogoni community, which will be known as Ogoni House. He said his choice of Bayelsa was because there's a huge number of Ogonis in the state. He said he will also visit other states to interact with Ogonis and know their challenges. Dr. Fabeke commended the Ogoni community in Bayelsa for the great turnout and advised them to be law-abiding and shun any act capable of truncating peace. Similarly, Council of Chiefs from Gyoko Gakana on Saturday paid a courtesy call on Dr. Douglas Fabeke, pledging their support to the vision of the Ogoni Liberation Initiative.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
Women have been banned from appearing on TV dramas in Afghanistan under new rules imposed by the Taliban government. Female journalists and presenters have also been ordered to wear headscarves on screen. The Taliban have also insisted that foreign films promoting foreign cultural values should not be broadcast. The Taliban seized power in Afghanistan in mid-August, and many fear they're gradually imposing harsh restrictions. On the news this morning, you heard NDLEA has said the consumption of methamphetamine is on the increase in Rivers State. The police will arraign 4 students of Umpolu Ororoko Community Secondary School today for alleged cult activities. Illegally refined stored petroleum products sparked 2 fires in Port Harcourt. Rivers State government has said it will probe the cause of the fire incidents in Port Harcourt. On the foreign scene, the Taliban has unveiled new rules banning women in TV dramas. The news was edited by Martha Okere. For more stories, visit www.nigeriainfo.fm. Cloudy weather expected in Port Harcourt this morning. I am Eno Obevere. Thank you for listening. Good morning.